It was 2:30 a.m. when the men in black suits arrived at Michael Franzese's home. There was no need for a search warrant. The former mafia captain had already given them permission to search his mansion. He knew what they were looking for: cash. They found over $1 million in cash. The feds then came back again a few days later to collect his luxury cars. Among the collection was a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, a Porsche, and a Maserati. All of these assets were seized by the government as they prepared to send him to prison. But why did they take everything from this mafia captain? To find out how he got the feds involved with the mob, how he became one of the wealthiest criminals in the world, and how he lost everything, keep watching till the end of this video. Michael Franzese was born in Brooklyn, New York City on August 26, 1950. His parents were Italian immigrants who worked as a barber and seamstress. Though he grew up in an ordinary house in an ordinary neighborhood, he wasn't your typical gangster. He didn't have any criminal role models growing up. Instead of having someone like Al Capone or Lucky Luciano as his idol, his hero was the businessman. As a kid, he would follow the stock market and learn about corporate finance. He was fascinated by money. And when he learned that there was a way to make money faster than anyone else, he jumped right into it. You see, Michael grew up during the golden era of the mafia. Back then, organized crime groups made millions of dollars each year. And being part of the mafia meant making a lot of money. So while most kids his age were trying to figure out what career path they wanted to take, he was figuring out which mafia family he wanted to join. At the age of 18, he joined the Colombo crime family. It was run by a boss named Joseph Barbera, the underboss, Thomas Ialo, and the consigliere, Vito Genovese. The Capo Regime, Anthony Stendardo, was the one who accepted Michael into the organization. As a new member of the Colombo crime family, Michael was tasked with collecting debts. But he quickly rose through the ranks because he brought in more money than anyone else. Unlike other mobsters who collected debts by threatening people, he did it by befriending business owners. He understood their businesses and helped them expand so they could pay off their debt and still make a profit. This style of debt collection led to huge profits for the crime family. This also led to the first big legal issue in his life. You see, one of his business associates was arrested and sent to prison for tax evasion. When the IRS called Michael to testify against him, he refused. Because of this, he was indicted for contempt of court and sent to prison for 6 months. But even while in prison, he continued making money for the crime family. From inside prison, he ordered illegal gambling and loan sharking activities. As soon as he was released, he was summoned by the boss of the Colombo crime family. Thought he was going to be arrested for his activities while in prison. But instead, the boss gave him a promotion. He made him a captain in the family. Now, as a captain, he oversaw all racketeering activities in Manhattan. But he wasn't satisfied with just overseeing the illegal activities of the crime family. He wanted to come up with his own scheme to bring in millions of dollars. In the early 1980s, Michael came up with the perfect plan to make millions of dollars. At the time, gas stations were selling for around $1 million each. So he bought several gas stations all across the city. These gas stations weren't your typical gas stations where you could just fill up your car. No, Michael turned them into illegal underground casinos. He installed slot machines that paid out more than Las Vegas casinos. In addition to offering high payouts, he allowed gamblers to use credit cards to play the slots. This was massive bait for rich people. They could gamble with other people's money and get away with it. While other mobsters operated their casinos illegally and were constantly raided by the cops, Michael's casinos stayed open for years. Why? Because he bribed the officials to turn a blind eye to his casinos. One official he bribed was a state trooper who was in charge of raiding illegal gambling sites. For $2,000 a week, he did nothing to shut down Michael's casinos. With his casinos bringing in millions of dollars each month, Michael lived the luxurious lifestyle. He drove expensive cars, wore designer clothes, and partied with celebrities. At some point, he became one of the wealthiest criminals in the world. Even though he was making a fortune running illegal casinos, he tried to convince himself that he wasn't a bad guy. He told himself that he was helping people by providing them with jobs and making their nights more fun. But behind closed doors, he admitted that his casino was nothing but a big scam. "There is no such thing as luck," he once said. "I cheated them. That was my luck." For a while, things went well for him. He wasn't caught, and he continued making millions. But as they say, all good things must come to an end. Michael's empire came crashing down when the FBI wiretapped one of his associates. What the FBI didn't know was that this associate was only an errand boy for Michael. He didn't really do anything important. But because he was close to Michael, the FBI was able to get information about Michael's illegal activities. This led to the FBI raiding his casinos and arresting him. He was charged with 19 counts of racketeering, including illegal gambling, extortion, and money laundering. He was facing a maximum of 255 years in prison, if convicted on all accounts. When he was arrested, he was shocked. Couldn't believe that the FBI had finally caught up to him. But deep down, he knew that he wouldn't spend 255 years in prison. He knew he would get a much lighter sentence. After all, he had a lot of power in the Mafia, but he wasn't able to negotiate a lighter sentence. Even with his connections, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. He was also fined $5 million for operating an illegal gambling business. As if losing $5 million and going to prison wasn't enough, the government seized all his assets. They took his mansions, his cars, his cash, everything. And since then, he has been living in poverty. In prison, he shared a cell with another mafia captain. They slept in bunk beds and did menial jobs to make money. After serving 5 years in prison, he was released. But his life would never be the same. When he got out of prison, he wrote a book about his experience as a mafia captain. He also starred in a documentary series called Growing Up Gotti. Today, he lives a simple life in New York City, does public speaking gigs, and makes occasional appearances on TV shows. Looking back at his life, he has no regrets. He doesn't regret joining the Mafia, setting up illegal casinos, scamming people, or anything he did. According to him, he lived the best life. He got to live like a king and do whatever he wanted. He says he's not even mad at the government for seizing his assets. "I made my money and spent it foolishly," he says. "If they want to take it, take it. What about you? You think he deserves everything that happened to him? Or do you think the government was too harsh on him?" Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, check out our other videos about the Mafia. We promise you won't regret it. See you next time.